According to ace UFO researcher Wendell Stevens, the same sorts of UFOs that we're seeing now, from lenticular shapes to saucer shapes, we've always seen ever since World War II, ever since the Foo Fighters. We have been seeing the same sorts of ships in the sky, even ones that are fairly new to me, like the ones that have been seen over the Ukraine, the Cosmics and the Phantoms. The Phantoms are the all black ones that are like little black holes that seem to absorb all light. When I first heard about that in the Ukraine, from the UFOs showing up there, that was the first time I had ever heard of that phenomenon. Well, it turns out they have always been here. They were observed in World War II. They were among the Foo Fighters. So let's talk about this. This is really, really interesting. Get in here. This is Jack with Cosmic Road. I talk about UFOs and the paranormal. Please hit like. Please subscribe, and please hit the bell to be notified of future videos. And share this video on social media when it drops. That would be very helpful. Please comment below and let me know your thoughts on the story. And if you wanted to support the channel in a bigger way, you could always become a channel member. See the first line in the description below. Okay, so, I've heard about the Foo Fighters forever. Even before I was into UFOs, I had heard of the Foo Fighters. I mean, I think we even were taught that in school, but, obviously we weren't taught that they were actual UFOs. It's just an unknown phenomenon in World War II. And when I did hear about them and studied them as UFOs, I predominantly heard them described as balls of light and, not the sorts of UFOs that we commonly see. Well, I mean, I say that, and balls of light are actually very common. My one and only UFO sighting, maybe, there may have been one other one, but the one that I can definitively say was a UFO sighting was, a ball of light, or maybe multiple balls of light. Kind of hard to be sure. Or at least that's the way it appeared in the night sky. Whether there was a craft attached to it, or whether it was something completely different, it's hard to say. But as it turns out, there were more than balls of light in World War II, in the Foo Fighters, and even before. There were ships, there were lenticular cigar-shaped craft, there were the Cosmics and the Phantoms, to use the Ukrainian terminology. And, well, let me just let Wendell Stevens describe it himself. And if you don't know Wendell Stevens, he's a great UFO researcher. I believe he has since passed on, but he has left a legacy of wonderful research, and he has probed into areas that most people wouldn't go into, and studied it intensely. He's actually one of the few people that I've heard really defend Billy Meier, for example. I think he actually went and lived with Billy Meier for a while on his compound, and studied him, and was persuaded of Billy Meier's, genuineness. I've seen a lot of stuff that debunks Billy Meier, and he definitely hoaxed some stuff, but maybe that was just to keep the momentum going for some actual genuine experiences he had. That's neither here nor there in this piece, but it just shows that Wendell Stevens is willing to go places that most people won't go, and it's just an excellent researcher that's been around for a long time. He's also a military guy, a former test pilot and veteran. But here he is talking about the Foo Fighters.
When you heard of UFOs, was the war still going on at that time, or was this after?
There were reports of things in the air that we thought were new enemy aeronautical developments. They were fireballs that would get in formation with fighters and bombers too. Right. And I remember pilots saying that they would get outside of the cockpit window just 50 yards. And no matter what they did, they couldn't shake them. They'd climb, they'd dive, they'd climb, they'd roll, and they'd stay right there, which demonstrated a degree of control beyond anything we could handle, beyond anything we knew anything about.
Now, was this in the Pacific Theater? Or
this was in the Pacific Theater. We first noticed them in the European theater. They were first called Kraut fireballs, German fireballs. Then it was corrupted to Foo Fighters from the French "feu" for fire, firefighters.
Right. Were they all the same size and color?
No, they weren't. They were everything. They were green fireballs, orange fireballs, blue fireballs. There's big ones, there was little ones. There was some as small as a basketball and some as big as a medicine ball, some as big as an aircraft. Besides those were popular. Those were commonly reported. Besides those, there were discs, there were cylinders, there were other kinds. There were metallic silver spheres. There were black spheres, just looked like a black hole in the sky, a black pocket in the sky. And all of these things demonstrated a degree of maneuverability and control such that we could not escape them. And we thought, boy, whoever designed these things has got something up on us. Of course, they thought we had designed them. The other side thought they were ours.
Right.
Isn't that fascinating? So we've got, the cigar-shaped craft, we've got the saucer shapes, we've got the globes, we've got the fireballs, really fascinating stuff. It recalls to mind that old wood carving or wood cutting of the battle over Germany, was it? Where you see the cigar shapes and the globes. Correct me, I'm probably getting that wrong. I don't have that in front of me right now. But an ancient UFO battle over Europe hundreds of years ago was seen by many and depicted in art, and it shows these same sorts of things, or some of them. So it appears that whatever these beings are, they're not always, friendly with each other, and they have been around for a long time. What other evidence do we have that they're not always friendly with each other? Well, there's a whole bunch of reports from contactees and experiencers talking about their own experiences and how they have learned through the process of their experiences that, the people they're in touch with, or the beings they're in touch with, are not necessarily friendly with another group. Then we have, the more easier to confirm stuff, where we have people like Ingo Swann, very credible source in my opinion, talking about how a UFO fired at him when he was in the company of some government types. And we have various encounters that I've covered where the U.S. military has fired upon UFOs, and various other accounts that show clearly that the military and the government is working with the beings. So to me, that seems like we're allied with some beings against some other beings, which indicates to me ongoing conflict between various races. If you see it differently, let me know in the comments below. And we also have, various accounts of aliens and the ships firing upon us and humans, like in the Ingo Swann example. But yes, in that Ingo Swann example, that might be an explanation for why the UFOs fired on us, is that we are possibly allied with another group. And there are various other incidents like that. Wendell Stevens, in the same interview, talks about U.S. military jets approaching a UFO that then made those jets disappear, never to reappear. I've heard other similar accounts where the jets have reappeared. Who knows, maybe those jets that Wendell Stevens talked about will someday appear in the future. Maybe they were displaced in time, but maybe they were abducted or even something else. But I really feel like that particular case, in those sorts of cases, may be a subject for another video. It's kind of in depth. There's also the case in Italy that Lou Elizondo investigated in his show Unidentified, where they went over there and met with some government types. And there is the really fascinating case of the UFO firing on a helicopter. Were they firing on the helicopter because the helicopter was, doing something they didn't like? Or was it, because that helicopter was allied with some beings that they didn't like? So, it's hard to say. Who knows? So much of this is just conjecture until either the government ponies up with the information or else the beings come forward and tell us and give us a straight answer this time. That'd be nice. Anyway, I feel like I'm rambling and I've strayed from the topic, but the point is that these ships have been around for a long time and they're the same sorts of ships. He didn't talk about the triangles as part of the Foo Fighter phenomenon or the UFOs in World War II phenomenon. And that was really the only major classification of ship that he did not mention. And it's also worth noting that the triangles are often associated with government craft. So could that be technology that was invented later? There do seem to be triangular alien or non-human ships. So I'm not entirely persuaded that that's the answer to that riddle. But it could be, or it could simply be that he forgot to mention the triangles. Anyway, a super interesting piece of information that we should keep in mind, that these ships, and lots of the same sorts of ships, and presumably the same sorts of beings, have been around here for a long time. But those are just my thoughts. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. And if you've enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up. I would really appreciate it. Please smash the subscribe button and hit the bell so you don't miss a single video. Please join me on social media. There's Facebook and Twitter links below. And please, if you enjoy these videos, please consider supporting the channel by becoming a channel member. See the first line in the description below, and there's 2 tiers of membership to receive exclusive access and videos. Until next time, this is Jack with Cosmic Road.